Jew is the most racist race, people. And if you don't catch my little subtle, maybe not so subtle notion of wordplay, don't look into it. Browsing around YouTube, you come across a lot of pretty racy things. So that's what this video is about. Racy things. And we're going to be doing a little bit of browsing around the internet ourselves. Looking at what's what. So that we can come to terms with what is, you know? You know what I'm saying? I hope you do. But I kind of hope you don't. Because the more you know what I'm saying, the more able you are to judge what it is that I'm saying and have an opinion of your own. So just go along with what I'm saying rather than trying to analyze what it is. Because if you do so, maybe you won't agree with what I have to say. And also, you may be judging me for what it is that I'm doing and saying. Ultimately, showing you that you yourself fall in to what it is that I'm talking about, folks. Racism. And who really is the most racist race? Alright, well, let's take a look at a few things here. Biblical verses about Judaism and superiority. So, we are going to look into the text in which states literally the ultimate race. And a lot of people have this notion of what the ultimate race is, right? It's called eugenics. That's pretty much just like a scientific term for like racism. It's called eugenics. You know, has the word gene in it. Genes are what code for your biological form, so they call it eugenics, yada, 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 right? So we're going to look at Exodus right here. And this is literally what kind of like their philosophers of the time wrote about their own society. So, you know, a little bit of an ego trip here, but, you know, bear with me for a minute. Exodus 34:10. And he said, "Behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee." 34:12. Same portion of the book, Exodus. "Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee." 34:13. "But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves." Deuteronomy 4:1. "Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them that ye may live, and go in and possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers giveth you." Deuteronomy 7:1. "When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou." 7:2. "And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them." I think it's funny that the Jews like play the scapegoat a lot of the time when it's like, read the scripture written by their own hand. It's literally talking about like showing no mercy unto other nations and races and ethnicities or groups of individuals or peoples, not respecting their beliefs at all. pretty much saying that if you like destroy everything that they are, I'll bless your hand. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. So yeah, there's that. And then, we'll continue on. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Superiority complex? Much. I think so, folks. Thou shalt not be affrighted at them, for the Lord thy God is among you, a mighty God and terrible. And I'm going to stop right there because literally it just goes on and on and on. Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Isaiah. And then what we end up having is like, the New Testament comes in, and then it's all of a sudden people saying that it's like, okay, like we're from the kind of like the same roots of beliefs as you are, and it's like putting a spin off of their beliefs, and it's like adding onto their books and then saying, oh, well, the Jews overshot the mark, so to speak, and eventually it's going to come around to bite them in the behind because they become like what's the word, spouting off your holy nature. Anyways, self-righteous, right? And the pride is their own stumbling block, because then we have Jesus come, and pretty much that's where we get like the New Testament, right? So Jesus comes into the whole picture, and then the Jews actually crucify. Like, a lot of people say like the Romans crucified Jesus, but he was like a dissenter, like he was like stirring up the crowds, and it was like a culmination between Jewish and Roman factions, which actually led up to the culmination of the event itself. I mean, we actually have like Pontius Pilate, which just says he's a philosopher, right? But then he's just doing the will of the people, kind of, and it's like there's this usurper who's like this hippie guy going around, saying down with the system, so to speak, kind of thing, like recognize the godlike nature in all things and in yourselves, right? And then everybody's like, whoa, 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 he's pretty much upsetting the order of things. And they're like, we need to teach everybody a lesson by putting this guy up on the cross, pretty much. Well, from there is like the great equalizing faction, or the event, which pretty much puts Christianity into motion. And then you have this whole thing where it's like people just try to derive like all of these belief systems based upon like the ancient Jewish culture, which a lot of people argue the ancient Jewish culture is merely a spin-off of like ancient Egyptian culture, which ultimately is just a spin-off of other things. And it in a lot of ways I kind of think that like that whole system of beliefs like took over the world. It's like people talk about like the Roman Empire, but like at the fall of the Roman Empire, they pretty much were taken over through a religious war rather than a war of arms, so to speak. It was like a war of ideals or philosophies. And the Middle East, in a lot of ways, kind of ended up overtaking the Western factions or the middle factions of Europe, with like the spin-off philosophy of Christianity, which is just like a spin-off of all these other things. I think it's just a lot of new ideas. Well, old ideas marketed in a new way is what I mean to say. So anyways, back to what we're talking about. Who is the most racist race? Well, let's look up some other things in regards to... Oh, and then somebody might be saying, dude, Judaism isn't a race. Well, the reason why I think a lot of people have hold a lot or harbor a lot of negative emotions towards the people of the Jewish faith is because they are a successful group of individuals, because they hold themselves and their community to a high standard of morals and ethics. And literally, based upon the adherence to their belief system, they intermingle with, only other people within that faction or group of individuals. And as they literally kind of feed off of each other based upon this high moral attitude, and, promote well-being within the group itself, it just kind of, becomes something which is successful. That's why a lot of research actually shows that the people which are involved in highly organized and communicative religious organizations are more successful in regards to like monetary funds, and things like that during their life on the earth due to these things. So anyways, the reason why I in a lot of ways classify Judaism as a race is because in genetics, and especially if you get a genetics test based upon your ancestry, the group has intermingled with its own for so long that it actually has created a subpopulation in regards to the history of the planet itself. And there is a specific genetic marker called Ashkenazi Jew. Ashkenazi Jew. Genetic marker. So genetic studies in particular, they investigate whether there's a common genetic heritage, blah 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 blah, and if you get a genetic test done, in a lot of cases they will actually show you the percentage of Ashkenazi Jew genetic markers which you hold within your body. And so in terms of what a race actually is, Judaism more than not qualifies as an actual subpopulation group or variant of the species itself. So it literally is in a lot of ways a race. And so if we go back to who is the most racist race, and we look at, people writing things about other peoples, and we talk about a group of individuals literally having utter disregard for every other nation other than their own, and Jews themselves deny any additions additions to these teachings within the gospel, the ones which all of a sudden teach about peace and harmony and all the other stuff. We're not going to get into too much controversy, because as soon as you dive down this rabbit hole, it's just like becomes this tangled web of like your hair is all of a sudden dreaded up into like one giant mat, and you can't separate fact from fiction anymore. And it's like, oh, but it's some huge old conspiracy, by everybody and everything. And it's like, well, how come I don't know about it? Blah, 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 blah. It's just like all of a sudden everybody has a mental disorder, and it's like there's literally nowhere you can run to like find like solid ground to like hold on to like stand, and you're just constantly falling down this rabbit hole. So we're not going to get into that. But let's look at assaults by race. So race and crime in the United States. So who is the most violent race? I'm looking at percentage of adult males incarcerated. Hispanic, Black, white, and all. So Black is the most, Hispanic is the second most, white is the least. I think it's kind of funny that we just literally lump all white people together. It's like if you're somebody who's from Europe, there's so many distinguished factions of white, where literally they have morphological and cultural differences, separated by border and boundaries. I mean, ultimately you might still classify them as white, but they're literally sub-factions of the group itself, And I think it's just kind of funny how we lump the entire group together as just white. So if we're looking at that, then, this isn't necessarily related to race, it's related to violence. So the most violent group would be Africans, or individuals of a darker hue. Assaults by race against another race. Let's see here. The AmRen.com statistics on race and violent crimes. So, race offender. Who's the more racist race, whites or blacks or Hispanics, in regards to other races? Again, I think it's funny that they group the whole white group with each other. So, whites against whites, 56%. So, in terms of who whites actually attack, it's mostly other whites. 13.7% of white violence is against black, 11.9% is against Hispanic, 10.6% is against others, 7.8% is against an unknown. Now, blacks, on the other hand, 10.4% is against white, 62.2% is against blacks, so black on black violence, 4.7% against Hispanics, 15% against other, 7.7% against unknown. Hispanic violence against whites, 21.7%, against blacks, 21.2%, against other Hispanics, 38.6%, others, 11.6%, and 6.9%. So what we're seeing here is that actually white violence against black people of black race is actually greater than black violence against white race by 3%. You might say, well, that's a small amount, but it's still a significant enough amount to say that whites are more racist against blacks than blacks are more racist against whites. Okay, but the odd thing here is that Hispanics show the least amount of violence against other Hispanics, where in both the white and black groups, the amount of violence towards their own race is significantly higher than in regards to any other race. But with Hispanics, it's almost even across the board. So I guess if we're saying what is the most racist race out of all of these races, then Hispanics would actually fall into that categorization because they have more numbers of victimizations against people other than their own race. So, who's the most racist race? Talked about the race of Judaism, the race of blacks, the race of whites, the race of Hispanics. And now you might be saying to yourself, well, if Judaism is considered a race, then what else could be considered a race? And what is the most least violent race on the face of the planet? So if we're going to literally say that subpopulations are to be considered a race due to genetic factors which have a significant difference in relation to other groups of peoples on the face of the planet, then we should include other religions which in fact can be subcategorized into this categorization. For example, the faith of Islam is in a lot of ways related to Judaism in the fact that it's a very interconnected group of individuals, highly conservative in regards to the practice of taking a partner who is of the same faith. And so we're going to look at violent crimes based upon religion. If we're going to classify religion as a race, then we are going to look at a statistic that's talking more so about religions if we actually, go down the road of categorizing religion as a race. But based upon statistics, and what we deem as a race, literally the genetic makeup of a person, almost like the breed of a dog, like the specific variant of humans, which we're talking about, people of specific religions usually fall within certain variants. So let's see if we can find anything here which talks about specific races and they're prone to being violent against other peoples. Let's see here. The role of strange beliefs, Africa, high rate of imprisonment, mass murder and suicide cults. This is not what it is that I'm looking for. The FBI 2015 hate crime statistics, or the Washington Post, which religion is the most violent. Let's see if either of these hold the answers to our questions. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's giving me a breakdown of hate crimes, and the majority of hate crimes are based off of race, ethnicity, 59.2%, and the other 19.7% is based upon religion. But we're lumping religion in with race because most people of specific religions fall into a specific race as well. So click to read more. Yes, let me read more. I don't want to see advertisements about conservatives and Hollywood celebrities who lean right. No, thank you. I would like to continue reading the publication, Which Religion is the Most Violent? The analysis presents some challenges, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but show us the stats, all right? What are the stats? What are the stats? What are the stats? This article is pretty much trying to be like a peacekeeper between everybody. It looks like they're not getting down to the nitty-gritty. All right, and this one was of no help whatsoever. United States, what are the crime rates by religion? Wikipedia, statistical religious violence. Okay, so on average, chaplains surveyed say that Christians as a whole make about 2/3 of the inmate population in the facilities where they work. Catholics, 15%, Protestants. Nope, not what I'm looking for either. And I think, a lot of people say it's Christianity, it's a peaceful, like, harmonious thing. I mean, but I'm just browsing and this kind of sparked this thought. If we talk about the Crusades, that was not, like a peaceful endeavor of Christianity, right? So relationships between religion and violence. No. Just give me like a stat showing the amount of violence in regards to each religion. It's like all of these articles are just playing like the middleman peacekeeper for every single thing that I'm looking at. Maybe I'm not typing in the right terms here. Violent crimes based upon religion statistics. Think religion makes society less violent. Statistics. Statistical correlations of criminal behavior. Violent crimes based upon religion statistics. World Countries compared by crime, violent crime, murder rate, nationmaster.com. Come on, internet, you're failing me at this moment. It's kind of funny. Everybody plays this, you know, like the scapegoat or whatever like that. But if you look at the data, it pretty much shows that every like organization throughout time has literally gotten together, and you know they say that our beliefs are the most superior, and then go on like a rampage against other individuals of beliefs which aren't inherently their own, right? But we're trying to see. We need to totally change up my search term here. Violence and violence plus, we're gonna have to get really advanced here with my searching techniques. We're gonna have to start adding pluses and leave out words and include all these words. Violence plus religion plus sex, SECTS, and statistics. I found like the first few articles like so easy. I don't know why this one's like proving to be so difficult. LA Times, huh? Think religion makes society less violent? Think again. It's kind of funny thinking or seeing that article. I've had certain people tell me that, you know, Hollywood and all this different takeover is just like some communistic underground, you know, left-winged type thing, which is trying to like take over the world through the media, you know what I mean? And that article written by the LA Times, you know, a lot of people say communism is based upon no religion whatsoever, whatever, but it's pretty impossible. It's like the pinnacle of anarchy doesn't really exist, because ultimately you have somebody that comes out on top, which creates like an order and a faction and a group to literally accomplish goals, you know, to take advantage of certain things. So the pinnacle of anarchy can't really come into existence, you know, no governing factions over other groups of individuals. The pinnacle of like no religion can't ever come into existence either, because as soon as people adhere to like a certain, you know, order of things and they're religious about it, then it's religious. So, statistics of violence. Struggle between, there is no radical Christianity like radical Islam. Okay. What are the violence rates in regards to specific religions? Is that specific enough, internet? Religion and crime, is there a correlation? 11 facts about religious discrimination. All right, here's an article published in PubMed, so it's a scientific article. Race and religious contexts of violence, linking religion and white, black, and Latino violent crime. What's the abstract say? Religious contextual measures have significant crime-reducing associations with violence. Okay, blah, blah, blah. We're looking for... Maybe I'll search PubMed then. Violence, religion, statistics. Come on, give me what I want to see. Give me those stats, please, baby. Violent death rates by religion. Let's visit the page on this. Okie dokie artichoke. Percentage highly religious versus violent crimes. Okay, so violent death project, huh? This is an interesting article. So showing me a map, it's showing me all of the nations which are Muslim, Hindu, Christian, and Buddhist. And then it's showing violent death rates by religion. It's actually showing that Christianity has the most violent death rates by religion in regards to other religions or sects. Muslim is the next, Buddhist is the next, and Hindu is the least, according to this statistic that we're seeing here. And, you know, of course, we have to factor into consideration that Christianity is showing to be probably the most prevalent religion on here. So there's a lot more people which follow it. So is it really race specific or religion specific, or is it just showing us that because there's more people which identify with that specific sect itself? I could do some division here and find out per person. Maybe I'll figure that out. Do some math really quick and figure out exactly what's going on here. Super quick math. I'll take a bath in this word math. Why are you being that way? Dead? Dying on me? Yeah, for anybody wondering what type of calculation system I use, obviously I go with Texas Instruments. And if you're unaware about Hurricane Harvey down in Texas, become aware today and donate. I've donated. It's time for you to donate to help humanity rise above situations which are detrimental to the experience of others. So yeah, Texas Instruments TI-84 Plus Silver Edition. The best of the best of the best of the best. Sir, got my little nutritional notes in here and my chemistry notes taped into here. Oh yeah, anybody familiar with these little scribblings? The most painful time of my life.
Alright, so enough of this distracting. Let's pull up the calculator on my computer since that calculator is out of juice, it seems. Okay, so we got 118016600 plus 2933100 equals, this is for Hindu, it is 1209497000 people. Okay, now for the Buddhism, we're going to add 6599846 plus 1480500 plus 500200 plus 1. Dang it, I messed up one number. 6599846 plus 1480500 plus 500200 plus 1274200 plus 2736800 plus 2023800 equals, gives us a number of 398717172. Alright here. Whoa. 5 6 1 3 1 2 plus 7 4 1 9 6 0 0 0 plus 3 5 2 0 0 0 0 plus 2 7 1 3 6 9 7 7 plus 7 8 7 3 7 0 0 0 plus 2 3 5 8 0 0 0 plus 2 8 4 5 0 0 0 plus 3 4 8 9 5 0 0 0 plus 6 4 2 0 0 0 plus 10 4 3 2 5 0 0 plus 3 2 9 9 3 0 0 0 plus 2 2 9 9 6 5 0 0 0 plus 9 0 4 7 0 0 0 plus 2 8 1 5 0 0 0 plus 1 6 9 6 5 6 3 plus 1 7 0 5 1 5 0 0 plus 1 6 2 2 2 1 0 0 plus 2 7 6 0 6 0 0 7 double 7 nice plus 4 2 2 7 2 0 0 0 plus 1 5 3 0 6 2 5 2 plus 1 4 5 1 7 1 7 6 plus 3 2 9 1 0 0 0 plus 10 0 5 7 9 7 5 plus 4 2 2 4 0 0 0 plus 8 1 9 0 0 0 0 plus 10 0 5 7 9 7 5 plus 4 2 2 4 triple 0 plus 8 1 9 0 0 0 0 plus 2 2 1 9 8 1 1 0 plus 7 3 4 9 1 4 5 plus 5 4 8 2 1 2 3 zeros plus 6 4 0 7 0 5 8 plus 10 1 1 2 4 5 3 plus last one Albania 3 1 9 5 triple 0 1 2 3 equals well, when you're looking for a specific statistic, sometimes you just gotta do it yourself. 503 people. Alright, now Christianity, I'm not looking forward to doing this one. And if you're sticking with me on this, then you must be as interested as I am in regards to what is truly going on here. I think it's interesting that they didn't add up the total populations that they were taking into consideration, for these calculations. It does show some interesting notions, though. It says, in regards to Christianity, it says the bad seed nations are El Salvador, Honduras, Venezuela. The well-behaved nations of Christianity are Austria, Sweden, Denmark, and Cuba. Ironically enough. Islam, the bad seed nations are Sudan, Niger, and Iraq. The well-behaved nations are the UAE, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. In regards to Buddhism, the bad seed nations are Mongolia and Cambodia. The well-behaved nations are Japan and Myanmar. Hinduism doesn't show you the bad seed or good seed stats. Alright, we got one more addition sequence to go here. And you wanna know what might be? I wish I could just copy this and just put it in like Microsoft Word Excel, but it's just an image, it doesn't have selectable text. So, alright, let's do this. How about everyone figure this out? 3, let's use my keyboard now. 4, 2, 4, 1, 0, 0, 0. Plus. No. Okay, that's already up. Okay. 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 0, 0. Plus 3, 1, 0, 2, 2, 5, 0, 0, 0. Plus 1, 1, 3, 1, 7, 0, 0. 0. Plus 6, 2, 7, 9, 3, 4, 3, 2. Plus 4, 6, 2, 7. Oh no. Plus 4, 6, 0, 3, 0, 1, 0, 9. Plus 5, 5, 4, 3, 8, 1, 9, plus 6, 2, 0, 4, 1, 7, 0, 8, plus 6, 1, 9, 7, 1, 0, 0, plus 9, 3, 5, 4, 4, 6, 2, plus 4, 9, 0, 1, 9, 0, 0, plus 5, 3, 6, 7, 1, 8, 8, plus 3, 8, 1, 9, 2, 0, 0, 0, plus 9, 6, 4, 8, 5, 3, 3, plus 1, 3, 4, 0, 0, 2, 1, plus 2, 2, 1, 7, 9, 6, 5, plus 3, 2, 8, 1, 0, 0, 0, plus 7, 5, 2, 8, 1, 0, 3, plus 1, 1, 3, 0, 6, 1, 8, 3, plus 2, 2, 2, 1, 5, 4, 2, 1, plus 9, 1, 9, 8, 3, 0, 0, 0, plus 5, 3, 7, 9, 4, 5, 5, plus 1, 0, 8, 2, 7, 5, 1, 9, plus 6, 0, 4, 0, 2, 4, 9, 9, plus 8, 3, 5, 6, 7, 0, 7, plus 4, 4, 3, 6, 4, 0, 0, plus 3, 2, 9, 9, 0, 0, 0, 3, 2, 9, 9, 0, 0, 0, plus 4, 5, 8, 8, 8, 0, 0, 0, plus 4, 4, 8, 9, 4, 0, 9, plus 2, 0, 5, 4, 1, 9, 9, plus 1, 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 4, 4, plus 1, 3, 2, 7, 6, 5, 1, 7, plus 4, 2, 5, 3, 8, 9, 7, plus 3, 3, 2, 2, 5, 7, 6, plus 5, 8, 9, 1, 1, 9, 9, plus 3, 0, 7, 8, 9, 9, plus 6, 134 123 plus 903 5536 plus 7810848 plus 45586 223 plus 26814 843 plus 26 26814331010907778 plus 192272890 plus 2946193 plus 3494382 plus 4013445 plus 6349123 plus 147900608 plus 752940 plus 1706300 plus 7782 plus almost there 81757 600 plus 1005000 plus 49991 plus 10746 plus 32369 plus 2108 665 plus 7306 7306 677 plus 141927297 equals an astounding amount, folks. 1595493 So now what we have to do is divide this number by the violence number to give us some notion in regards to an individual's violence. Now give us a better understanding as to how violent the specific religion it is, and it will help us to rule out just an overwhelming number being accounted for. So we have 1,159,549,3,538 divided by 11.3 equals. I need to do this different way. I need to find the ratio. So we're going to do this actually. Okay, so we have 0.3 over that. So for 1 times that by 1 divided by that, it's going to give us that. So they have a rating of 141194118, or ratio. That's Christianity. Okay, now Muslim is going to be 1171591,503 divided by 5.5 gives us a number of 213016636, or right around that up. 0.967. That's Muslim. Okay. Now for Buddhist, 398,717,172 divided by 4 equals 996,79293. That's for Buddhist. And then we're going to get a number for Hindu, and that is 120944120914700. We're going to divide that by 2.9. 2.9. And then so Hindu is sitting at 417067931. Now let's add some commas to give us a better understanding as to the amounts. And let's look at what it is that we're seeing here. So, now, per person,
we are seeing that Hinduism is actually the most violent religion if we try our best to eliminate overwhelming population factors. Then Hinduism is by far, by a couple 100 million, more violent than the nearest religion, which is actually Muslim. So Hinduism is the leading violent religion in regards to the likelihood that an individual person will partake in violent behavior. The next is Muslim. The next is Christianity, and the least likely is Buddhist. So yeah, but ultimately, who is the most racist that ever was? That little religion stat there didn't give us any idea in concern to a few religions that I wanted to look at, but beggars can't be choosers, right? And I'm feeding off of somebody else's work, and I just kind of did my own work upon their work as well. But ultimately, who is the most racist thing? I'm gonna tell you what is. The universe is. Why is that? Because it doesn't give a crap if you're a struggling or an impoverished thing, if you fail to gather resources, you're going to become extinct. List of extinct animals and plants, whatever. We're going to include everything. Wow, there are a ton. Dinosaurs, birds, mammals, cetaceans, arachnids, insects, butterflies. In specific, we can go into a list of extinct animals in North America alone, list of extinct species in Italy, and I'll tell you what, literally it's just an overwhelming amount of extinct things. So God itself, I'll be politically correct here and not assign a gender role to God, but the universe is literally the most racist thing to ever exist. It doesn't give two shits about, whether or not you're an underprivileged thing which is like failing or struggling to live or perpetuate on your, existence. It's going to weed you out. It's going to kill you off. So, all those people tearing down all these statues and everything like that, you know what they really need to tear down? They just need to blow up the earth and just destroy the whole universe, and in doing so, just destroy God. Because God itself is the most racist thing that ever was. Kills off millions and trillions. More than millions. Trillions are more than millions, people. It's even more than billions. Lucky you ain't dead and you're still alive here to witness this video, making history about the true racist man. The one that's ultimately behind the anonymous mask of racism is the one that sits upon the throne above everybody. There you have it. Thanks for joining me on this journey of enlightenment. I'm Austin with Euphoric Intentions. Peace out.